They say size doesn't matter, but tell that to the people who own the biggest of everything, from pizzas to robots and… wait, is that a dog? What do you do when you have the world's largest axe? Chop absolutely everything that you can get your hands on, that's what. From beer kegs to fire extinguishers, not even a Tesla's safe from the chopping block. When you have a pest infestation of giant mutated rats, you need a giant mousetrap. Based on the testing regime, it's extremely effective against watermelons, coconuts, and cans of Coke. Back in 2012, a bunch of chefs in Rome set the world record for biggest pizza ever created. That record was finally broken in 2023 by YouTuber Eric with the help of Pizza Hut. Over 6,000 kilograms of dough, 2,200 liters of pizza sauce, 4 tons of cheese, and about 630,000 slices of pepperoni went into this epic pizza party. They say it's hard to reach the handlebars on a chopper. Well, on the world's largest motorbike, it's even harder just to climb aboard. 6 times larger than a standard motorbike, this 5-ton monster is over 5 meters tall. Just try to stay clear of overhead power lines. Do you ever wonder how they sign those giant novelty-sized checks? With a giant pen, of course. Measuring in at 5.5 meters long, it's so heavy, it needs at least 5 people to lift it into position.
Yeah, boy.
This is the largest dog in the world, measuring an intimidating 3 feet and 5 inches. That height blows out to almost 7 feet when this Great Dane stands on his back legs. Zeus, as he's lovingly named, weighs around 170 pounds, although it's been a long time since he's fit on some scales. If you're like this guy and ice cream bars just aren't big enough to be satisfying, why not make one yourself? Only 10 times bigger. This ice cream bar's so big, it needed a wood plank instead of a popsicle stick. This is what happens when anime meets real life. Yokohama in Japan is home to a replica Gundam-style robot that actually moves. Standing over 18 meters tall and featuring 24 moving joints, it's ready just in case of a kaiju attack. Ever get to the end of that 4-nugget combo and you're still hungry? How about digging into this massive nugget and fries combo? You'll find 7 pounds of chicken in each nugget and several potatoes per french fry. And if you're still hungry afterwards, I don't think I can help you. This is only a single sushi roll, just upsized to ridiculous proportions. Designed to be the equivalent of 45,000 sushi rolls, this world record snack featured 3,000 pounds of cooked rice, salmon, cucumbers, and nori seaweed. Romario dos Santos Alves is obsessed with looking like the Incredible Hulk. So much, in fact, he spent most of his life chasing one title, the man with the biggest arms. While lifting weights isn't enough to sustain his bulging physique, Romario turns to oil to pump up his arms.
Let him cook! Let him cook now! Let him cook! I said let him cook!
This is the largest sword ever used in battle. Wielded by a giant Dutch soldier in the 16th century, this almost 7-foot-tall sword weighs more than 15 pounds. Most people would struggle to even hold it up, let alone swing it.
Target neutralized.
When you need to feed an enormous crowd, there's nothing like an omelet made from 10,000 eggs. In this Belgian festival, hundreds of chefs and volunteers crack, beat, and cook the eggs before pouring it into a comically large frying pan. It takes a team to stir the omelet as it cooks before being served to the crowd with a side of bread. They call them Jurassic Doritos, and they may or may not have altered genes involved in their creation. One thing's for sure though, no one's got the munchies anymore. If you've ever wanted to go back to when you were a short kid trying to play your favorite arcade machine at the mall, here's your opportunity. This is the world's biggest arcade machine. Built 2.75 times the size of the regular model, this turns button mashing into a workout. They call this bike stupid tall, and at 15 feet in height, the name checks out. You gotta be crazy to want to risk life and limb for a ride on this completely impractical bicycle. Staying upright definitely takes some getting used to, but the view is worth it. This is the world's largest truck. Introducing Monster Max 2, a fusion of science fiction and post-apocalyptic engineering. Standing 14 feet tall and weighing north of 50,000 pounds, this has to be the most terrifying thing you'll ever find on a farm. Blossom is the tallest cow in the world. Towering over most humans at 6 feet 2 inches, this big bovine is definitely a tall glass of milk. Being a tall cow has its disadvantages though. It's a longer distance to the ground to eat grass. This is the world's tallest climbing tower. People with a fear of heights need not apply, as the structure towers an intimidating 47 meters into the sky. You can play it safe on the beginner walls, or try your luck on the expert runs that feature overhangs and vertical ridges. Just whatever you do, don't look down. The hacksmith made a giant Thor hammer, and true to legend, he made sure that no one could ever pick it up. And not only is this multi-ton weapon an engineering feat in its own right, it also doubles as a smashing tool when dropped from 100 feet. Playing with your Hot Wheels car set as a kid, you never imagined a car attempting a loop in real life, let alone two. This 125-ton loop is over 6 stories tall, and anyone dumb enough to attempt it will be subjected to 7 Gs of pressure. When you're a chocoholic, the idea of a 30-pound Kit Kat sounds amazing, but there isn't a sweet tooth in the world that can get through that much chocolate. Upsized from 1.5 ounces up to 30 pounds, this mega Kit Kat is a heart attack waiting to happen. When your mom told you not to sit too close to the TV, she probably didn't expect you to bring home a television the size of a large family swimming pool. This thing's so big you can watch it from the neighbor's house. This is a normal-sized Xbox, and this is a giant replica that works just as well as the original. Built from wood and perfectly painted, not a single detail was missed when designing this 2-meter-high Xbox. Even the buttons work. All those years messing around finally paid off when this guy created the largest paper plane in existence. 122 inches long and constructed from high-quality polystyrene, the classic design still holds up in the flight test. What's the first thing you do after baking a ridiculously oversized replica Oreo cookie? Try to find a big glass of milk to match. While the dunk might not be as classy as it was when the Oreo was smaller, it's still just as satisfying. Marcus Daly's the proud owner of the world's largest hot dog cart. Measuring in at 12 feet 2.75 inches in height and 23 feet 2 inches wide, this oversized novelty is actually a fully functioning restaurant. Now, while everything is supersized, luckily the hot dogs you can buy are normal. This is Bigfoot, and with 10 foot tires attached to the wheels, there's absolutely nowhere you can't go. Standing 15 feet, 6 inches tall, Bigfoot holds the Guinness World Record for the largest tires on a vehicle ever recorded. When your doctor tells you that you're only allowed 1 block of chocolate per week on your new diet, you should stock up with this group of Dutch chocolatiers. They created this monster block featuring 383 square meters and over 27 tons of handmade chocolate. The diabetes apparently comes free of charge. Constructed in Denmark, this massive structure is actually the world's tallest ever sandcastle. Beating the previous record by 3 meters, this king of the beach measures in at 21.16 meters tall and required 5,000 tons of premium sand to build. They're just lucky it didn't rain. Most people get defensive when you point out they have a big mouth, but not Francisco Domingo. He's the owner of the world's widest mouth, opening to 6.69 inches without stretching. But his main party trick, however, is fitting things in his mouth that just shouldn't be possible. This guy built a matchbox 20 times the size of the original. Hand mixing flammable resin and making sure everything was to scale was just the beginning. It all came down to the strike test. When bigger is definitely better, this guy built a larger-than-life replica of a Nintendo Switch. Measuring 30 inches tall and 70 inches wide, all the supersized buttons work just as they would on the handheld version. The display even got an upgrade to 4K. This is the largest football in the world. Measuring 80 centimeters in diameter and weighing over 3 kilograms, the jumbo football is about as practical as you'd expect for something this size. It's like trying to kick a really heavy beach ball. Measuring an impressive 43 feet from tip to tip, this replica Gibson can't be strummed like a normal guitar.
Hell no, man.
You need at least 6 friends to play a chord, and it's not gonna sound great. When you're a big kid that never quite grew up, the world's largest air hockey table is the ultimate toy. Built 10 times larger than your regular version, they needed 2 industrial blowers just to get the air pressure. The result? An exhausting game of air hockey. There's normal ping pong, and then there's super-sized table tennis where your paddle's so big it makes missing the ball virtually impossible. Swings are no longer just for kids in the playground. This swing in China is one of the biggest in the world, swinging daredevils over a cliff with nothing between your dangling feet and the massive drop below. I have a feeling one push is more than enough. If you can't swim or have a fear of heights, you may want to look away. The Kilimanjaro slide in Brazil is a terrifying 164 feet high, where riders can expect to hit speeds of 57 miles per hour.